So check this out. Look at this here. This is actually the 80s, right? So the 80s through to the 90s. This is the 90s as well too. This is also the 2000s. This is 2010 to 2020. But look at this here right now. We're starting to get a complete massive shift right now, and this whole massive shift is gonna completely change the way we see things, the way we do things. This is going to affect the property market. It's going to affect the stock market. This is going to affect everything right now. And I believe the way we've been seeing things, the way we've been doing things in our future, all back through here and all through this situation, all through here, is not going to be like this, because this downward here is going to put a lot of pressure, and therefore this whole thing, the stock market, is not going to be as buoyant, and also the property market as well too. And I want to show you why this is really important to you as an investor, and why it's really important to you as a trader as well too. I'm also going to be looking at the yield curve as well too. The yield curve has started to invert, but there's something really interesting to actually show you through there. But also what I'll do is I also want to give you a bit more of a bigger picture of what's happening on the actual stock market right now, and why there's actually a bit of a cautionary bells around that. But also there's actually a few things that I want to show you for, like for example, Barber's one stock right now that I'm watching for, because I believe we could be getting ready for a really nice move to come. Nvidia is actually potentially putting in a massive head and shoulder formation, so we could be seeing that as well too. So there's a lot to go through with you guys. Don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in this session today. I have no idea what's going to come, right? And there's no guarantees of making a profit on any given one trade. Just make sure that, okay? Also, guys, today is your last day to grab access to that flash sale that I'm doing, which is my top 4 trading courses plus 2 bonuses for $4. First link in the description there, guys. Go grab it today. So let's actually start off with this. I'll start off with Nvidia here, so because it's on my screen right now. One of the really big things that I'm watching for Nvidia is and one thing I've noticed is whenever these big weekly charts start to shift, right, start to really give us signs. We never know what's going to come in the future, but the only thing we can rely on, when the market starts to give us some potential warnings, we need to listen to that. So for example, back here, right, look at this back here. So this is obviously back into 2000s and so on and so forth. We actually had this point through here, and so higher low, but then we started to create this sort of, see that point through there, and then what? And then we had this downward leg through here. Is this the same thing? Is this the same thing what we're getting right now, where we've had this up, and as you can see, things have started to change, right? There's something happening, and there's a lot of volatility, right? Big massive head and shoulder formation, shoulder, head, shoulder. So there's actually a lot of things happening there with Nvidia. And this is a lot of things, a lot of the tech stocks, and it's really interesting to see that. Now, one thing that I've realized is when the market starts to give us these lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, whenever we start to break these lows through here, we can see this bull phase is actually now starting to come to an end, and now we're potentially starting maybe this phase through here, like we did back here, and like we did back here as well too. So that's something really interesting to show you there, guys. Also, as I was talking about, Barber's been one of these stocks right now, guys, that has been absolutely just crushed. As you can see, big move down. And I do know over the last sort of 12 months, there's been a lot of, I know Charlie Munger, he bought it as well too. I think they're actually in the Buffett portfolio. But there's been a lot of big buying coming out of Barber, and as you can see, Barber got really crushed through here, and now we're starting to potentially start a new upward trend, as you can see, and now we're going sideways, and now you can see we're starting to get this more like a shifting up pattern through here. So Barber could be one of these things. Even if we did get a little bit of a pullback, I'd watch something through here, even for myself, even from a trading perspective, like looking for a good trading opportunity. I'll be looking for something from here to here, because then we could possibly start to see Barber come back up towards these nice levels, up through there when looking at those markets here. Now, one of the big things I sort of, when looking at the overall stock market right now, I was doing some analysis here on the really big long-term picture here. And one of the really interesting thing is you can actually see that the market goes in bit of waves, right? So this is the S&P 500. If we go from the low to the high, we actually came down. Look at this here, came down to 50%, and then we held. But as you can see, if this is going to be the start of a bit of a full-blown bull market, what tends to happen? We come down to the 50%, but then we start the stair step. Even if we have a very big move up, we end up coming down through there, don't we? We go through a bit of a stair stepping phase. And the reason why I'm saying that, there is a few things. One, if we actually go from the low to the high point up here, from there to there, we can see how the market actually came down to that point through there, and we actually had a very big strong rally, right? Came down through to here. But as you can see, this here was also that 50% level as well too, and this is the same thing from here as well too. But look at this here, right? We came up and we pulled back, come up. Now this is the weekly charts, right? Up, and then we had a few months of a pullback. Well, look at this here, very, 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 very strong move to the upside. So the reason I'm saying that there's a bit of a cautionary bell is that if this is going to go back into a full-blown bull market, we would need to start to create these higher lows again, right? We would need to start the new upward trend. Because as you can see, that most of the time when it comes to these markets, you will get this here, and then you'll get a pullback, you'll get the higher low, come back up, higher low, and then we actually then start the new upward trend. So right now, this is actually still a very, very, very warning sign that this could be something more than just that. And if we get, and also if we go look at the daily charts, is once again, you don't ever go parabolic without getting a significant pullback as well too. Even through here, right up, this actually had a little pullback and then it went up again, and then look, it came down and then we continued up. Right now, we've just been doing this through here. So this is actually, there's major danger. This is a major danger point right now for you guys that are looking at the markets, because you're too scared to get it. And this is where, if you think about it, right? If you think about what was going on down here, most people are fearful, right? There's a lot of fear in what's happening right now. Most people are like, oh my goodness. The interesting thing is that the dynamics of a lot of people, even in my comment section here, it was that was everything's dead. Now everything's here, and now everyone's like, yep, here we go. We're going to new highs. So most people are late. Okay, so don't be listening to most people. Don't be right when there's a lot of fear in the marketplace. And then we're seeing that through there. So the purpose of me saying this through here is that, one, we got a parabolic move. If you're looking to enter the market right now from a trading purposes, then it's a very, very, very risky time, because there's a very high probability, even if we do get a little bit more upside to come, even if we get something like that there's a real big pullback coming for some reason. We don't know why, but the market's screaming at this, because remember, the market won't keep going. The market doesn't do that, right? Meaning the market's not going to keep doing that. Whenever do you see that happening, right? We get a bit of a pullback, we get this point through, right? And we end up going through what? That was a few months of at least sideways phase. And then came up, and then we had a nice pullback, and then away we go from there. So that's actually a bit of a big picture there. Plus also looking at the gaps through here, right? I was looking at the pass through here, and there's a lot of these big gaps up. There's a gap there, a little gap there, gap there, gap there. Now this is the cash market, not the futures markets. And you just notice, and there's a bit of a big gap up there. It ran up and then it came back down and filled it. And there's a lot of big gaps through here. So this is, especially there's this gap here, and then there's this gap here. That's pretty like, okay. That's pretty dangerous, right? Pretty dangerous. Meaning that are we about to? Now Paul Tudor Jones says that, we're probably going to come back to new lows. And if that's the case, then are we going to get something like that? Let's see what the market does, right? For me personally, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the market to tell me. What does that simply mean? Well, firstly, we are going to get a pullback here soon. A pullback simply means that we've had a very strong move up, and that's going to pull back against the trend, right? We are going to get something like that soon. That's coming. You can bank on that. You just don't know when or how fast or how sharp, or is it going to be like that, or is it going to be more like this pattern here for a few months and then we get going again? You just never know, right? So, but we can see that through there. And we can see this gap here. But I want to see what the market does, right? Does the market come straight down? I'm looking for, you see how there's a thing called sort of who's more dominant, right? So we had a strong move down and we had a strong move up. If we get another strong move down like this, like that there, guess what? This here is a massive topping pattern, and then we'll get a bit of a bounce, and then we'll probably see a big massive rollover from here. If we get this over the next few months, we have just formed a massive top in the markets, and we're going to see a much bigger drop in the market. And now I actually have a 7,500 target by the end of this year. So I don't want to see that from my ego perspective, right? But what I am looking for is what actually comes at us. If this is the top before we start to see the bit of a pullback in the markets, I'll be looking for retracement levels, right? So this is the 50% level. Let's actually bring on, say, That's the 25% level. Let's just keep this here, right? So what I'll be looking for is, I'll be looking forward to see, okay, what's going on here right now? Okay, so we have this point up through here. I'll be looking for a pullback, right? And as you can see, like for you guys that are trading the markets, just wherever what you want to do is, if you're looking for a long signal, if the market's doing that, don't get involved with it. Why? Because you like to get a pullback, and then you like wait for a pullback, right? What is the trend? If the trend is up right now and you want to buy the stock market, don't buy it after it's already gone up, because you're buying the wrong time, right? That is the worst. That's the worst amateur mistake you can make, right? Wait for a pullback. Now, why? Now, most people want to enter the stock market now, right? Why? Most people were screaming the worst time to be out, right? Wait for a pullback and so on and so forth. So we can see that through there. So what I'm waiting for to see is, okay, does the market have a pullback? One, but also how fast is this? This is called this is something that I'm always talking about with my coaching clients, is reading the moves, reading what's called the strength in moves, right? Because if we have a very strong, if that's strong buyers and this is strong sellers, well, if we have strong buyers like this here, but then the selling leg looks something like that there, see how that's the angle there of that selling leg through there. That's the angle of that selling leg through there. That means we had these strong buyers, weak sellers. This here is strong sellers. This here is that there. So if we got something like this scenario here, meaning we did come down, but we did something more like this for a couple of months, like that through there, and then we started to pick back up. If we got something like that, guess what? This is now a massive bottoming pattern. We are going to scream. We are going to absolutely scream. So the purpose of me saying this here is, don't be one way or the other, one way or another, right? What we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, what is the market doing right now? And then therefore we can get ready, right? Now I'm utilizing the S&P 500 right now, but I'm teaching you techniques we can utilize. And the absolute worst time to be looking at something is trying to buy call options right now after it's all right. Why? If you're trying to buy call options now, is the worst time. One, the market's already gone up, and how do markets work? We go up and we go down, we go up, we go down, we go up, we go down, right? And secondly, secondly, the options and the call options right now are absolutely getting crushed right now, absolutely crushed in the markets. So it's the worst time to be looking for that there through there. Now, and again, we never know what's going to come, right? We never know what's going to come. And if you're looking at this yield curve from here, this yield curve here, as you can see, a lot of people there's some people talking about the yield curve, right? Oh, look, we got back above here, recession's coming. Just remember that that's obviously the 10 to 2, and this is obviously that's the 10 to 1 and then 10 to 2, right? Yeah, we are getting back above this level here, right? But as you can see, sometimes it may take 6 to 12 months for us to start to get into the thick of the recession. This one here, as you can see, it actually started to get it started to get up into May and June, July. So around about that April, May 2007, maybe July 2007. But guess what? Then we actually went up. When did the real big bear market start? Not until probably like the first few months of 2008, and then we went into the thick of it, right? So just because the yield curve's doing this here doesn't mean we can't go for another big leg to the upside, and then we start the bear market, right? So that's what we're looking from there. From that perspective here, one thing I also been looking at as well too is that, as you can see, there's a lot of things that's happening right now around this chart or through here, right? And one thing, if you're looking to invest in a company, looking to buy a company, find a good company and look for these red points through here, right? Look for red, look for red, look for red. Where's red? Red, red, red. Red means go, right? Red means go. Red means go, red means go. And I'm not, and there's a few companies here that I'm actually looking at. Actually, there's just one really out of all these companies through here. There's just one company that I'm eyeing off right now that could be an amazing opportunity, just like we've seen right now in all the stock market, right? There's been so many opportunities that's actually come from this level here. And if we go through here, one is the actual stock market. As you know, I did a video a while ago, a few months ago, down the bottom here, saying the greatest buying opportunity, and then the market had a big rally. You guys may remember that video. Oh man, I've got some help for that. It's really interesting, right? People down the bottom here, it's like, yeah. So that's the first thing. And like, even like Tesla, right? Tesla was a stock that I got into, went down the bottom here, right? As this Tesla stock was getting absolutely just smashed, look at Tesla now. Why? Tesla was the biggest poo-poo company there, right? And so therefore, I'm trying to share with you that right now, if you're looking to get into companies, find good companies, and if you're looking to get in, even from a trading purposes, meaning now trading simply means you're looking to buy and hold for, I would say, this type of approach, where you're looking for these big smash companies and you're looking for a nice good rally out of it. Give it a good 3 to 6 months to see that rally. I say 3 to 6 months because it may happen sooner. But like this one here, right? As this market came down the bottom here, I started entering big long positions down the bottom here, and it took a few months before this thing started to rise from here. And we see this thing like a lot of the times, like even looking at things like Apple. Look at Apple, right? Look at this here. X marks the spot with Apple. See that through there? Look at this here. Support level through here, support level through here, and also support level through here. And then the markets had a big rise from here. So that's what we can see this through here, and we can see what's going on here. So again, if you're looking investing in any really good stock, wait for these periods, wait for these periods, wait for these periods, right? So that's what you want to be doing. Now, that's hard, right? That's hard. Why? Because when this is happening, this is where, especially these times, and also looking at the actual stock market, right? Looking at these times. I hope you can see what I mean here. This is where, like, you just want to throw the internet connection away. Don't look at anything, because everything's going to be bearish, right? Which means it's harder to do that. And then we can go from there. Now, one thing I am starting to look at here, is looking at the long-term picture of how everything is, right? One of the biggest things, we've seen an explosion in property prices. We've seen an explosion in the equity market as well too. If we just go look at the actual, the equity market from here, this is the S&P 500. Obviously, this is the NASDAQ from here. And we've just had an explosion ever since 2008, an explosion in these markets from here. Now, I'm not saying the top's going to be in right now, but one thing I do believe is that by looking at this level from here, and by seeing how we've actually been in this downward sort of phase from here all this time through the 80s, 90s, and all through here, we've started to create a bit of a shifting pattern right now, right? Look at this here. So we've started to create a breakout to the upside after 40 years. And what that simply means is now, I believe now we're back into this sort of phase from here, right? Everything goes in cycles, right? We went from this phase here to this phase here for 40 years. So guess what's going to be happening for the next probably 30, 40 years? Probably higher interest rates. We're probably going to come down a bit, right? But we're going to step up, just like back here, up, down, up, down. But now the shift has started to take place. And this massive shift, the reason why this is important, because people, there's the whole the richer getting richer and so on and so forth. That's because of what's been happening with the interest rates and also liquidity, right? But we do know that the liquidity in the markets from the Fed, they might have one or two more big bangs, and then that's going to be it. There's probably not going to be a lot of more printing money. There's going to be a great reset around that. We do know that. There's just a lot of things that's happening right now around this whole thing that's happening, this whole sort of markets and economy, that this thing is probably going to start to complete a bit of a shift from here. And when we start to see this thing from here, right, we start to get much more higher interest rates. This here is then going to start to put into a market of, I believe we're probably going to go through a 10 years after this last final, if this is going to be the last final move in the big cycle things, I think we're going to go through at least 10 years of nothing going on in the markets. And if we go to the actual stock market here, and we go to, say, the S&P 500, or even like, I believe that that's that through there. If I go to the Dow Jones, let's bring up the Dow Jones. I believe, now this might sound crazy, but I believe we could be getting ready for, after an extraordinary quality bull phase through here, I believe we could be getting ready for something like this through here, where the market really doesn't do much for 10 years. We've just had an extraordinary quality bull market. We know the Fed, all right, the big old Fed, It's game over from there. They're running out of bullets. We see it on the charts right now. We see it on the equity curve. It's starting to push to the upside. So I don't think the market's going to go down massively, but I do see that everyone right now, we're starting to see a massive herd mentality being into the markets, right? So many people are talking about the markets. Everyone, that's the thing, right? People, it's like there's a massive shift that's going to start to take place right now. And the reason why this is important for you, and the reason why this is important for you as a trader, is that one, you need to be very selective. If you're looking to invest in the companies, you need to be very selective. There's going to be really good companies within that, but the overall market, I believe, we're going to start to see something like this coming for the next decade. After this next couple of years that starts to go through there, I believe the 30s are going to be like this here, right? The 30s, meaning the 2030s, the 2040s, I believe we're going to get something like this here, where the market's not going to really do much from there. We're going to get big rallies, right? As you can see from here, but I don't believe we're going to get that. And the reason why this is important, one, and I'm starting to notice from a shifting perspective, right? We saw Tony Robbins come out with a book, about if you just buy the index, you'd be fine for the last blah, 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 right? We saw that, right? We saw Jordan Belfort even come out with out there say, if you just bought the index for the last 10 years and you kept doing that, you'd be fine, right? And you see that whole process from there. I'm starting to see there's a lot of people coming out and saying the same thing right now. And that means we're getting very close towards the end of this bull phase. Meaning that if you start to do that for the next 10 years, you're probably going to accumulate maybe 10% return in the next 10 years. And again, I'm just looking at the massive shift here, what's happening with the interest rates, and then I'm starting to see people come out with books and all that sort of stuff, and people saying the same thing, and and all that sort of stuff. And so we can see what's going on now. The reason why that's important is because those who are just buy and hold these markets, and you see it so much. Even my gardener's talking about the crypto market and all this sort of stuff. It's like, oh my goodness. There's going to be a great awakening right now. There's going to be a great awakening to like so many people in these markets, because so many people don't know how to trade the markets. And this is the last note that I want to finish with you guys. It's so important through here that I believe the real sophisticated investors and traders, that all that simply means is that you know what you're doing, right? You know what a good high, especially for trading purposes. It doesn't matter if this is happening for me, right? Because I know there's amazing trading opportunities through all this trading period. People that buy and hold, there's going to be a big difference. Property market's not going to be as buoyant. Stock market's not going to be as buoyant, right? The next 10, 20 years is going to be completely different. But this is why for you guys, long term, for the next 10 plus years, it's so important that you tool up with some knowledge. You understand how to look for good trading opportunities. Now, those trading opportunities could last a few weeks. Those trading opportunities could last a few months, and you can start to pick up some nice, good profits throughout the year by learning how to identify these opportunities, by learning how to be a bit more of a trader purpose instead of buying, holding for 5 years and letting it go. There's going to be so many opportunities from here. And so this is where guys I recommend you really getting, some real good coaching and some mentoring. And that's my forte, has always been trading the markets. I've never been a buy and holder of these markets. Long term, even though that's been the best thing for me, that's been the best thing out there. But my thing is, how do I trade the market? So when we do go through periods like this here for the next 10 years, I still can absolutely just crush it from here, right? And again, that's the reason why I have an inner circle coaching program where I teach you exactly what to look for in individual stocks on all markets. There's opportunity on all markets right now. And there's just an amazing opportunities all around the place. I give you my scans to help you find these trades. But more importantly, I'm here. I have a weekly coaching where I'm coaching you every single week on the most important things when it comes to the mindset, everything that goes into you helping you become a really, really good trader. If you don't get this thing handled in the next 10 years, the next 10 years is not going to be like the last 40, right? We just saw what we saw there. And we can see we're starting to see this shift starting to take place right now. And it's really, really, really important that you actually start to get that under order. Yes, there's going to be some really good buy and hold with some individual companies and stuff like that. I believe the mining sector and stuff is going to be really interesting. But as you can see, there's so much going on right now. It's so important that you actually get some coaching, get some mentoring, and go out there and start that, because there's so many amazing opportunities. And when you start to apply things like leverage, like I like trading options. Oh my goodness, guys, there's So much money to be made out there, but you got to know what you're doing here. So this is what I want you to do right now. That's second link in the description, or go to getjohntop.com. That's an application form to my coaching program. I want you to, if you've been trading for many years right now, especially if you've been trading for many years right now, and you are still struggling, and you're still confused you don't even know what a good setup looks like, you don't know when to get in, you don't know how to let your profits run when you've got big profits and small losses, you have no idea what's going on now, you're totally confused, then you need my coaching. You really do need my coaching, right? Go to getjohntop.com right now. That's an application form. There should be a second link in the description. Go to that right now and go fill out the application form. You cannot, right? If you've been trading, say, for 5 years, and over the last 5 years, you've done probably not pretty miserable, like you haven't been doing really good. Not only have you not been doing really good, and if you've been, especially the last few years, if you've been losing money the last few years, one, you've been losing a lot of money, but secondly, the opportunity cost. Do you know there's been so many amazing opportunities that have passed your plate, that because you don't even know how to identify a good trading opportunity, you are missing out on so much opportunities, right? And this year, there's been at least multiple six figures of opportunities just this year alone that people have missed just by not knowing what to look for from a trading purposes, and how to take advantage of what I call gift from gods, like what's been happening the last few months. There's so many amazing opportunities out there. So if you're losing money right now, you've been trading for a few years, been doing all the courses, you're not only have you lost that money, but you've lost the opportunity. You've missed the opportunity cost from what you've actually done here. I always say to my private clients that if you have no idea what you're actually doing, the opportunity cost is at least $1 million over the next 10 years. You're going to see at least $1 million worth of opportunities in the next 10 years. Just, you're going to miss out on that because you don't even know what you're looking for. There's going to be an amazing trading opportunity right in front of you because you're not educated. You don't know what to look for. You don't know how to identify this. You are going to be missing out on so many amazing opportunities in the markets because you don't know what you're actually looking for. And that's the most important part, right? And I want you to be doing really well for the rest of your life. And that's what my coaching program is all about. I do a 6 to 12 months worth of coaching, really give you the foundations, give you the right strategies, know what you're looking for the rest of your life. And so this is what I want you to do right now. I want you to go to getjohnshelp.com right now. Go to that right now. I've got 2 spots left open for my Inner Circle coaching program. And then once that's done, it's gone. I keep the coaching program really small. Second link in the description. Go there right now and go to getjohntop.com right now. The second link in the description, and go fill out that application form, and I will personally speak to you real soon.